everyone, welcome to Political Party Animals. I'm the liberal host Rata, the furry king of awesome, and this is our 6th episode. We invite you to watch our past episodes for more political satire captured in glorious animal vision. You can see that on our Rated Awesome to Awful channel, as well as our Outrage for America playlist for further insight into the big topics that are plaguing our once great nation. Well, the penultimate finale of the Mueller Report has come after almost 2 full years. Democrats will probably be subpoenaing Bob Mueller, and we will get to the bottom of what is in his report in the coming weeks. First, around the end of March, we got the cleansed, partisan 4-page summary from Attorney General William Barr. It basically states that Russians definitely hacked our election through cyber terrorism, fake news, and fraudulent Facebook profiles. But even though the Plump administration was offered help to cheat, they didn't take it. Yeah, right. I guess the following are just magical coincidences. His ties to Russian gun slut Marina Butina infiltrating the NRA for the Republicans, the Plump Tower meetings with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya and Don Jr. for Clinton dirt, the main reason Plump's madman Riddler Roger Stone was indicted, for making a deal with WikiLeaks to release Hillary's overblown emails weeks before the 2016 election. That's not even getting into the obvious obstruction of justice by firing Michael Flynn or former FBI Director James Comey for starting the groundwork on the Russian collusion probe. And don't you ever fucking forget this moron said this at a press conference.
I will tell you this. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Almost a month later, in April, we get to the finale. We finally get the full 448-page Mueller report. Almost. Several pages are redacted, and Congress is pushing hard to see those portions. As well they should be. It turns out that Plump tried on numerous occasions to block the Mueller probe. Like when he asked White House lawyer Don McGahn to tell Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein to fire Bob Mueller in June of 2017. McGahn decided to resign later rather than break the law, and Plump was too lazy to follow up on it. Other times, his underlings like White House officials Lewandowski and Dearborn also obstructed Plump's obstruction of justice by not getting Attorney General Jeff Sessions to narrow Mueller's scope of the Russia probe. This only pissed the King Emperor off further since Sessions rightfully recused himself earlier. Now we know what his response was on May 17, 2017, when Mueller was appointed as special counsel. In fact, clearly that of an innocent man who has done nothing wrong. Here's something that's not fake news. You are fucked, and you'll go down in shame and flames. And before the 2020 election, we've always stated that it's going to be very hard to run for president from behind bars. Of course, there's other instances where his idiot staff, such as his once shady lawyer Michael Cohen, couldn't use email correctly to set up Russian collusion. Plump only hires the best people, after all. But if we delved into every moment that he was seriously inept and unequipped to govern the U.S., this show's runtime would be able to compete with that of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. In slow motion. Mueller's entire probe used 40 FBI agents, 19 lawyers, and other staff, and cost between $25 to $35 million. However, it's yielded more than $45 million from Plump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, alone. It's also brought indictments on 34 individuals and 3 Russian companies. 4 of those individuals have already been sentenced to prison. Most are business partners, lawyers, advisors, and other associates of Donald J. Plump, but weren't arrested for collusion, but rather conspiracy, money laundering, lying, and tax evasion. One of those who will be doing about 3 years in prison for lying to Congress to protect his boss is Plump's ex-personal lawyer for a decade, Mr. Michael Cohen. At last, it seems like the House of Cards may have finally knocked a card loose. While our King Emperor was getting sushi eaten out of his ass by one of his 2 dictator lovers, Cohen was testifying about all the shit on that sushi. Sorry if that's gross, but so is this.
Our flag had just experienced a Me Too moment.
Ugh, get a room and then burn yourself in it. Hey, that CPAC room will do just fine. He ranted for over 2 hours in front of his sycophants. How could he do it away from the teleprompter for most of it?
Number one, I'm in love, and you're in love. We're all in love together. We've done something that nobody's ever done.
These are the kind of speeches that show the true Mad King and the way he talks.
He took a hard punch in the face for all of us. Remember that. By a bully, I'd like to do a lot of things, but of course we would never do that. Sue him, but he's probably got nothing, but sue him forever. But sue the college, the university, and maybe sue the state.
Of course, he made a
Bullshit.
load of lies and false claims, but at least he had some fun.
Green New Deal, I encourage it. I think it's really something that they should promote. They should work hard on. It's something our country needs desperately. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry up. Darling? Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
It's so typical for the right-wrong side to completely exaggerate anything liberals do. Are you surprised he's not on board with saving energy or helping the environment? No, not when he wants to bathe in
Beautiful, clean coal.
We made a rule not to see each other before he goes on here. So let's find out together how much he's going to gloat, even though there's still something like 17 investigations, mostly into his corrupt business practices. It's Plump, the sociopathic penguin! Whatever, Tiger Boy. They haven't got me yet, and I've been cheating the system since I was a little millionaire boy. Patriots, it's time for my fucking victory parade. DJ, play my favorite song.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind.
Okay, that is a truly phenomenal song, but I was referring to my other favorite. That's right, you heard it from my friend Bill Barr. I hired him for this reason.
It was a complete and total exoneration.
I had to look that word up after he mentioned it, but it fits bigly in this case. Now, you fine Americans can accept that there's no Russian funny business besides what goes on with Vladdy Baby and me between the sheets. And of course, all the money laundering. I'm in a good mood, and I feel like a winner. I gotta admit that I was pissed off for most of March. Despite what a few of my past rape victims have said, I'm not usually a violent person. But I've obliterated 4 posters of Cowardly Cohen. I load up a couple of ARs I have, aim at his droopy rat face, and just let loose. Once one of his posters is disintegrated, I move on to a full 2-hour session of angry eating. That's one of my favorite parts of executive time. He knows all my secrets, folks. Even more than what Vladdy Baby knows. It's a scary time because he knows about at least a dozen of the abortions I caused, a lot more embezzlement, and where several of the literal bodies are buried. My Kool-Aid drinking party stayed strong and continuously harped on Cowardly Cohen. Let's not forget that he was convicted for lying to Congress. He's become soft and all morally this past year. Now he's refusing a pardon, claims to have a conscience, and foolishly wants to pay for his crimes. That scaredy cat rat really showed its stripes with that damning opening.
He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
He says those things as if I'm not proud of him. Anyone who's done business with me can attest that those are 3 of my most prominent features. You know, besides the orange complexion, small hands, and ridiculous hair. I stand by what Cohen said, and I've mentioned it to many of the peons who work for me. If you're a fag, spick, towelhead, nigger, or a bitch, then you are stupid if you voted or support me. You are not what's making America great again. Chinks, I can understand getting aboard the plump plane because even though I don't like them, at least they're probably rich. He went on to explain how I kept the Moscow plump tower deals going well into the campaign. Early on, I said that we stopped plans in January 2016, but then I figured out that there were more gullible deplorables than I thought in America. So it didn't matter if I built my tower in Russia or showed my tax returns when I took over the Oval Throne.
He lied about it because he never expected to win.
That's flat out wrong. Once the debate started and I was crushing low-energy Jeb Bush, lying Ted Cruz, and all the other spineless true Republicans, I knew I could outlie them all. They don't call me Don the Con for nothing. He's right about my campaign being the greatest infomercial in politics. That was the working slogan for a while. I've made millions by brandishing the plump name on anything I can. From vodka to steaks to board games to books to airlines to hotels, the sky was literally the limit. And by the way, only half of those were complete and utter failures. The only thing I regret at that time was being so persuasive. No one as dumb as me should have as much law-making power. Thankfully, the hate guides me. Here's where I get really mad. It's not bad enough for Cohen to provide some of my hush money checks to the porn star hoe of the week, but he's got to name my son and CFO Alan Weisselberg. They're going to subpoena them. They'll give more damning evidence, and it's all over for the clown king of crime. He also gave receipts of my flagrant abuse of the Plump Foundation. Yes, I bought a $60,000 painting of me with charity money and hung it in one of my mini golf clubs. Look, sometimes I misuse charity money for political donations to Citizens United or CPAC. Other times I use it as a slush fund to pay off Russian oligarchs or to bribe a Florida attorney general to not investigate Plump University for scamming. I've even used it a lot to get paid for my wrestling appearances. Hell, I'll find a Bone Spurs research firm and give them a few thou, thus saving more privileged rich kids from stepping onto the battlefield. It's my money, and I'll use it for whatever I want.
Sort of looks like Louis XIV might have decorated it on a bad acid trip.
I've been committing tax fraud since the 70s. You think they're gonna catch me now? I built an entire criminal empire. I think I know a thing about not getting charges to stick. I used to threaten people by changing my voice. Since I met Mike a decade ago, I let him play the role of litigious stalker. Now I have someone called the Secret Service to help me with that. Cohen was there to threaten Stormy about keeping quiet. He was great at keeping my high school and college from releasing my sad grades. I figured that the longer I can go without letting on that I was a terrible student and generally bad at everything besides hyping the Plump brand, the better. Which brings me to my favorite part. I've trained my Republicans so well at playing the victim. When Polyboy Gosser brought out the liar liar pants on fire poster, I literally spit my Diet Coke on my jammies. That's the funniest thing I've seen since Jussie Smollett hired two buff Nigerian brothers to play white supremacists. He should have asked around. I know lots of MAGA-hatted white supremacists who would have taken money for beating on a nigger. Anyway, I think the Repubs made a good case that will at least fool the mini soft heads who don't want to believe I'm not the second coming of Christ. Hail Satan for that. Speaking of Satan, I was hoping Cowardly Cohen wouldn't bring up Felix Sater. Yes, it's true, he's a convicted Russian mobster. I've never said he wasn't. Look, he's a friend of mine because he helped me launder millions of Russian dollars. Not because I know what his kids' names are. I can't even name all of my kids' names. He had an office on my floor at Plump Tower, but we didn't see each other much in person. Well, beyond that time, we fucked a pair of hookers together.
I remember that because I was the only one to fuck both of them. He wasn't man enough for both like your King Emperor was. True story. Alright, there was more quote-unquote evidence that little Mikey gave to Congress and a lot more beans he spilled, but I haven't watched Fox News in a whole hour, so I need to wrap this shit up. He basically told the truth about everything, okay? And that's what hurts the most. He looked me in my beady eyes and said that he covered for me. Let's just hope that my children or the others in the loop don't come forward, because Satan knows that I can't conceal all of it myself. I'm just not that smart. See you next time. Until then, keep America great.
Alright friends, that was a lot of truth and language, unfortunately. Got to apologize for some of those things that Plump said. Any kind-hearted person or someone who believes in human rights or decency would ever speak that way, but that's the deal we have with him. He allows us to shoot in his private Oval Office, and he gets to say whatever comes across his small mind, no matter how terrible it is. And it's up to you if you want to follow a Satanist sociopath such as him. Maybe he'll stay flying high for a few weeks and he won't resort to all the evil shit he usually does. Oh, so close. He wants to cut $7 billion for education. I can't say that we are surprised. It hurts the heart and it's heavy, so I get it. If you want a break from political party animals, but not from charming animal movie critics, we've got you covered here on this very channel. Thanks for watching. Please tell a friend or colleague. That would be super duper cool of you. We'll be back soon. Now, go forth and be awesome.
Alright, special counsel got you sweating like crazy, tweeting that it's a witch hunt. Open up, got some questions about Russia, evidence you should confront. I'm just trying to learn the truth and figure out how much you knew. All this time, my investigation never took its eyes off you.
This damn Russian code's gonna bite me in a bummer. I never should have fired James Comey last summer. Pundits call me dumb, but I made me look dumb.